This video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Last year I made a video on why you should be excited for the 2021 Formula 1 season. And now the season is over, I think it would be fair to say that overall, it actually exceeded my expectations. For example, Carlos Sainz outscored Charles Leclerc in his first season for Ferrari. His fellow Spaniard Fernando Alonso was also extremely impressive after taking a 2-season break from the sport. I also predicted that Sebastian Vettel would return to winning ways based on the assumption that Aston Martin would actually be good. But, yeah. Hey, at least he finished P2 in Baku. But the main reason I thought 2021 would be an awesome year for the sport is because of all the driver transfers that took place. You know, Ricciardo to McLaren, Checo to Red Bull, etc. However, for the upcoming season, the drivers who moved from one team to another, or from Formula 2 to Formula 1, will all have a year's worth of experience adapting to their new machinery. In addition to this, we'll also see a new set of drivers joining different teams and aiming to make an impact from the very onset. But probably the most exciting prospect about 2022 is which team will have the best car. Now, I already covered what teams have been doing to prepare for the new regulations in a video I made a while ago, so we won't be going too deep into that in this one. Instead, I want to focus more on the new team dynamics, as well as how the technical regulations should allow for closer, more competitive racing. I mean, I'm like 99% sure they will, but you never know. Haas could turn up with a car that ends up being 2 seconds a lap faster than everyone else. But one thing you should be 100% sure about is keeping your online identity safe, which is why this video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. It's well known that the internet has become an integral part of society. Be it watching your favorite shows on Netflix or clips of Kimmy being Kimmy, our internet reliance is higher than ever. But as our dependence on the internet increases, so does the risk of someone being able to track your online activity, which isn't ideal, considering how much of our personal data is out there. Surfshark VPN keeps your online identity safe by encrypting all of the information sent between your device and the internet. This keeps your personal data protected from big companies or cybercriminals, or the guy who hacked the F1 app back in July. Another reason why you should use a VPN is because popular entertainment services such as Netflix restrict accessible content to certain regions. This means that unless you live in a particular part of the world where the content is available, you won't be able to access it. With Surfshark, you can solve this problem as it allows you to change your virtual location to regions where the content is unrestricted. So, as a part of their special Christmas deal, Surfshark is offering you guys 83% off and 4 months extra free if you click the link in the description and enter the promo code BMPH. Surfshark also offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, meaning that if you're not satisfied, you can always get your money back, so there's no risk in trying it out. Thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video, and now, let's get into why you should be excited for the 2022 Formula 1 season.
Yeah. You must be blinded by the lights. We came to shine here. Watch it look daytime in the night. We bring the vibes here. We full of life, you keep the change, keep the change. They hate and say we went and changed. I stay the same. You must be blinded by the lights. You must be blinded by the lights, lights. Yeah, 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 yeah.
The 2022 machines will look drastically different compared to the era of cars used from 2017 to 2021. Why is that, I hear you ask? Well, Formula 1 is aiming to promote closer racing, which will not only benefit the drivers as following another car will become a lot easier, but also it'll be more entertaining to watch for the fans. But how exactly will these new cars improve the racing? One of the main issues that the previous generation of cars experienced was a loss of downforce when following closely behind another car. You'd often hear guys come over the radio and complain about being unable to overtake due to the dirty air coming off the car in front. So, what is dirty air? It's essentially just an area of disturbed airflow generated by the aerodynamic components of a car that's in clean air, i.e. undisturbed airflow. Dirty air can also be referred to as turbulent air or wake, and it negatively affects the following car's aerodynamic efficiency. Downforce levels drop, making it more difficult to drive through the corners, and components start to overheat. However, a number of technical changes have been implemented on the 2022 car to solve this problem. An all-new overwheel winglet is being introduced to control the wake generated by the front tyres. Wheel covers are making a return to minimize the production of dirty air coming off the cars. The front wing and nose have been reprofiled to ensure that the turbulent air is being directed down the car in the most efficient way possible. The new rear wing has been shaped in a way that produces narrower wake and directs the dirty air much higher, allowing a car following to experience less disrupted airflow. But arguably the most significant change is to the floor. A higher percentage of the car's overall downforce will now be generated by the underfloor to ensure less reliance on outer body aerodynamic components such as barge boards. These were previously used to direct vortices under the floor to increase downforce, but when following another car closely, these vortices would stop being generated, thus resulting in a performance drop-off. The tyres will also be changing for 2022, as the cars will move from 13-inch to 18-inch wheel rims. Pirelli have been working hard to ensure that the new tyre compounds meet the main requirements set by F1. These include reduced overheating to enable the drivers to push harder without fear of the tyres getting too hot, a wider operating window to make it easier for the drivers to get the tyres into the optimal working range, and a consistent performance delta between the tyre compounds to allow for more strategical variety during the races. The post-season Abu Dhabi test was the first time every team bar Williams were able to test all 5 tyre compounds locked in for 2022. Pirelli stated that the numbers obtained are mostly in line with what they expected, so let's hope that this translates well into the upcoming season. Speaking of numbers, based on simulations carried out by the FIA, when a car is 10 to 20 meters behind another, it's expected to maintain around 86% of its usual downforce, compared to 55% from before. So again, it all sounds very promising in theory. Realistically though, these numbers might not turn out to be exactly what we expect, but I definitely think we'll see a significant improvement. Next season we'll also see a number of drivers joining new teams. Alfa Romeo have brought in Valtteri Bottas and Guan Yu Zhou to replace the outgoing Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi. Now Zhou does have a lot of financial backing and huge commercial upside, given that he is China's first ever Formula 1 driver. His junior career results are decent, but at the same time, they're not necessarily jaw-dropping like Oscar Piastri's for example. If talent alone could get you a seat in Formula 1, then Piastri would be picked over Zhou all day every day. But in this sport, cash is king. In my opinion, I think we should wait to see what Guan Yu Zhou can deliver, given he showed steady progress during his time in Formula 2. As for Valtteri, it'll be a new challenge joining a team that will most likely not be fighting for wins and championships. However, I believe that the pressure-free environment at Alfa Romeo will bring out the best in Bottas. The relentless expectation to perform at Mercedes and the never-ending comparisons to Lewis really must have taken their toll on him. Now he's not under that level of intense scrutiny, he'll be a lot more relaxed when driving, which should help him perform better at Alfa. Williams are another team with a new driver for 2022 in Alex Albon. Albon's return is something people should keep a close eye on throughout the season. I personally feel that his time at Red Bull wasn't representative of his full potential, and that Williams is the perfect team to help him rebuild. It's a similar situation to Bottas, in that he'll be joining a team where there's not as much pressure to perform compared to driving a Mercedes, Ferrari or Red Bull. With Williams on the up, this could be the perfect opportunity for Albon to re-establish himself as a force to be reckoned with. The man who he's replacing is now driving for the Silver Arrows. And yes, they will be silver next year, even though my personal preference was the black livery. But anyway, ever since that superb performance in Sakir, many were calling for George to be promoted to Mercedes-Benz for 2022. And it happened. It was always a matter of when and not if he'd make the step up to the big leagues, since he'd proven himself to be among the most talented young drivers on the grid. Going up against one of the all-time greats will undoubtedly be a huge challenge, and I don't think we should put too much pressure on him to be on Hamilton's level straight away. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I believe that this will be more of a master-apprentice relationship more than anything else. I expect George will use this time with Lewis as his teammates to learn as much as he possibly can to help fast-track his development. All the other teams will remain with the same driver pairings as 2021, so it will be interesting to see how the likes of Perez, Ricciardo, Sainz, Vettel and Alonso all perform in their second season with their respective teams. Also keep an eye out for how well the rookies do. Schumacher always tends to do much better in year 2 of a single-seated championship, and if the Haas car turns out to be a strong midfield competitor, we'll get to see what he's really made of. As for Tsunoda, his start to the season, to put it nicely, wasn't the best, but he did manage to improve with time. And come the final race of the season, with all the drama and controversy surrounding the championship fight, Tsunoda finished a career best P4, which bodes well heading into next year. Mazepin's debut season in F1 was, how do I put this? Abysmal. Do I have high hopes for him in 2022? Nah. Quite frankly, the fact that he's still in Formula 1 and Piastri isn't is laughable. But as I said before, in this sport, cash is king. Let's not forget the potential battles we could see between the next generation of drivers. I'm talking the likes of Leclerc, Norris, Sainz, Verstappen, Russell, and Ocon. Some of you may be wondering why I've included Max. Even though he already has a title and will be entering his 8th year in Formula 1, these are the drivers he'll be competing for titles against for the next 10 to 15 years. I would add Gasly to that list too, but I'm not sure whether AlphaTauri will have a strong enough package to compete against the top 5 teams. There's a lot to be excited about in 2022. The first time we'll see the cars on track will be for pre-season testing in Barcelona, from the 23rd to the 25th of February. After that, we'll see them again in Bahrain for the second half of testing, from the 11th to 13th of March, just a week before the season opener. I hope you're all as hyped as I am for the new generation of Formula 1. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel with bell notifications to keep up to date with my latest videos in the future. Once again, thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. You can find a link to their special Christmas deal in the description below. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.